All right, hey everybody, what's going on?
It's good.
What's going on? We're here to talk about
Uh,
Knuckles.
Knuckles, the
We're here to
echidna.
talk about Knuckles. If you're not aware, we previously reviewed Sonic the Hedgehog back in 2020, and then Sonic the Hedgehog 2. What was that? 2022?
2021, I think, actually.
Really? I don't believe it.
No, 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 that's not. No, yeah, it had to have been 2022 because it was 2 years. Yeah, there was another thing. It was definitely 2022. There was another thing that came out in 2021 that we reviewed that it was just on my mind recently because I get like popcorn buckets and stuff
Hmm.
from it. And so I looked at it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, they came out 2021." I don't remember what it was now though.
Cool.
Could have been anything. But
You got
yeah,
a popcorn bucket of
2022.
everything? Like, how do you not remember?
Kinda, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't look at them all the time.
How many popcorn
Got a
buckets do you possibly have? Like 25 Tarqaron related popcorn buckets?
I don't have it for every single one, but I do have them for probably an
Wow.
unfortunate amount of them.
Old popcorn bucket collector.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, we previously reviewed those movies. Knuckles is a mini series, 6 episode series,
Yeah.
30 minutes apiece on Paramount Plus exclusively. It's a streaming service event or something. Streaming event.
It's a limited what is that? Limited series, I guess is what they called it
Yeah.
on the old thing. So, yeah.
And so we watched all the episodes, and as is our tradition now with the reviews, we're going to do a quick gut check where we're going to reveal our scores, how we're feeling about it now. And then after the discussion, we're going to lock in our final scores, and it might change, it might stay the same. All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
Whoa.
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 Is right.
Whoa.
Wow, you did not like it, huh?
No.
I
4.5, 7.5. I've never
yeah.
seen anything quite like that.
We were no, I don't know about that. We were pretty torn on you gave one of the ones we did recently like way tons of credit. You gave it a 5 and I think I gave it a 2 or something like that.
Oh, on the
So,
line? Yeah, maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, 5 still means you didn't really like it all that much.
But
So,
I did ultimately come down
yeah,
to like
you did. You did.
1.5 or something. Like,
Yeah.
all right, so I really did not like this. That's
I
surprising to me. 7.5. Wow.
so I have my reasons. I have my reasons.
Well,
Um
well, we saw
so
the same show, so
I I will say this. I was actually prepped for in some senses I had like heard people review it before we watched it because this came out like over a month ago now, I think. So I had heard some of the general reaction to it and I think the overall reaction to it was fairly negative from the fan base. Kind of think probably where you're coming from. Not a lot of Knuckles. It's mostly about Wade Whipple. Um, and because it's mostly about Wade Whipple, it's kind of annoying. I don't know why. I was kind of in the vibe
oh
for that
my
kind of
god.
humor. I was just in the vibe for that
The
kind of humor
humor
when I
did
was
not
watching
work
it.
for me at all.
Oh,
It's like
okay. There's a significant portion of it that did not work for me. It had almost everything to do with his sister. I hated her. I thought I really wanted her just to not
oh
exist
yeah.
as a character. That she added absolutely nothing to the whole
She
show.
didn't help. She didn't help
She
matters.
she didn't no, she did nothing for the whole show. Um, but I I appreciated it for what it was. It being just kind of this goofy little silly story where Knuckles and Wade kind of learn from each other and help each other grow in a lot of different ways. Wade needed to grow probably a little more than Knuckles did. Knuckles just needed to get a little bit more acclimated with Earth, and he learned some things about Jewish customs, and which was that came out of nowhere. Let me tell you, I was not expecting an episode about Shabbat.
The whole episode,
Um,
that was so painful to me.
I love that episode. That was my favorite. Oh no, that's actually not true. The next episode was my favorite episode. The one with the musical inside of his mind, the rock musical one.
Okay. Yeah.
That was my favorite episode. That and the one where I guess the final bowling thing too. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, this show is mostly about bowling and not so much about Knuckles. So
It's not a particularly
it's
good bowling series either.
no, it's very goofy. It's very I would say it's very childish in a lot of ways, and that is not that is what I would say that is what holds it back for me. I my 7.5 is maybe a little too generous. I think it is held back a lot in the general writing department. Um, there were definitely times where I was like, I would have written this very differently. I almost would have made it more like I felt like they were almost making it trying to make it like too like whimsical or too like I don't know. I almost felt like they should have leaned into the tropes of what kind of the sort of buddy adventure more and had more fun with it, making it like an 80s buddy adventure like it kind of was already going for, but it didn't lean into it hard enough, and it ended up just being kind of awkward throughout a lot of it. Um and I was kind of feeling that. I kind of thought it was fun. I had a good time with it. I think all of it worked. No, absolutely not. There's definitely some things that I would have changed, um, but I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I did not think it was great. In fact, I would. This is easily the worst Sonic the Hedgehog related movie universe thing that we have. But
I would
it was
agree.
okay.
I would agree. And as someone who gave Sonic the Hedgehog a 5, the first one, I have
Yeah.
to give this a 4.5 at least. Huh.
Wow.
Didn't even think about that, but that's just how it worked out.
Mm.
Yeah, it really didn't. It didn't. The humor didn't work for me at all. I found a lot of it to be very cringy, and Wade as a character I don't even like. So we're going in now. Now I'm all in. We're all in on Wade. There's much more Wade than Knuckles at all in this movie, and then
Yeah.
there's probably more Wanda Whipple than there is Knuckles as well in this movie. Honestly, there's so much.
Is one of the FBI woman?
Yeah, she's.
Oh, there is not more her than there is Knuckles. That is not true. You get those words out of your
She's
mouth.
so present in everything, and then they really try to make this whole storyline at the end where it's like, I have a mother and sister thing. And it's like, okay, but we're not. There was one episode where it was like, oh, this is probably the best episode so far. It's not bad, but I'm like, I actually forgot I was watching Knuckles because it was like I hadn't seen him for about 25 minutes. I'm like,
So that was the dream sequence. Was that the dream sequence episode, the rock
I
musical?
don't remember. I was tracking him on Serialized, but I can't
Because
remember.
that was the episode where he is not in it. I don't think he's in it at all. I think it's all him acting out.
Yeah, that
Knuckles'
might have been
backstory.
my favorite one, even though it is kind of divisive in that. Yeah, I'm not fully on board with some of the stuff where but at that point it was just like throw caution to the wind, just nonsense is happening. So
That was the most I appreciate it for that being just like they just came out. They're like, we're just gonna do the weirdest thing we can think of, and it worked. I don't know. I thought it worked. I thought it was a lot of fun. I also appreciated the fact that Knuckles' entire backstory is using a significant plot point of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, the Flames of Disaster, and the way that monster looked. That's just straight up from Sonic 06, which I was shocked by. I was like, we're having a Sonic 06 reference in this show? Where's my boy Silver at? That's what I want to know now. It's like Silver better come into this universe at some point.
yeah, I mean,
That's all I have to
they got
say.
Shadow coming, just gonna start adding all the characters in each.
All the hedgehogs. Amy Rose will show up.
Yeah. So no, now I remember I don't know now if that's the same episode or not, but my favorite episode was the one where we actually get into the Pistol Pete shenanigans.
Oh, okay. I don't think it was. I think it was the next episode after
Yeah,
that.
okay, it's the next one.
Yeah, I think it was episode 5.
For some reason, it was kind of working for me. I mean, it was like Pistol Pete kind of swaggy with it.
Okay. That's one of the reasons why I liked this so much. That even though Wade Whipple is like not really the best character, I really liked him in this. I don't know. I just liked his performance.
Okay.
I thought his performance. I thought Idris Elba's performance, and I thought Carrie Elwes's performances. All three of those were great. They were just hamming it up the whole time. Idris Elba just is. I mean, he's just an amazing actor in general. He doesn't have to do a whole lot. He just has to be a good voice actor. That's all he has to
hit
do.
him with the deep voice on him.
And I thought they all did really great. Wanda, I really just never wanted to see her. I wanted to get her off screen completely. None of that ever worked.
I'm saying that family episode, that's why it was so insufferable to me. It was all that. It was just all that.
Yeah, but I liked his mother a lot. She was fun. I liked her.
Nutshos, what did she say?
Yeah, Knuckles. Knuckles. Yeah. It's like, no, mom, there's no... Knuckles.
It's like, okay, but so much. It was too much. It was too much of this.
It is too much. It does feel very much like it's trying to make the kiddos laugh. That's what I mean. Where I said it's a little childish. There's some of it that is a little too like cringe. A little.
We're
too,
making masturbation jokes now. We're making masturbation jokes about this cardboard cutout, and like.
Oh, we didn't. No.
And he's talking about hugging it.
Yeah, he's talking about the marks are from him.
Yeah, but he made another comment too.
Even it's like those marks are all over the place. Like he's hugging other parts of it. Okay, that's like borderline a masturbation. It was
so weird though.
It was weird.
And I was like, "What are we doing here?" Poor Knuckles.
Knuckles is.
But yeah, I was saying Pistol Pete for some reason was so over the top that it kind of worked for me. But the storyline itself is absolutely awful. Like. Like we're really going in with the yet again we're gonna try to sympathize with the father who left the child for no reason. There's literally no reason. He just left to go bowling. I guess left him in TJ Maxx, and we're gonna talk about
the product placement was fun. Also,
the fact that Wade was like, I mean, I don't know where he got this like adoration for his father from when he literally just left him. And there was no explanation. I mean, it's like,
well, I think the whole thing is that he's like a Arrested Development. Like he's still a kid, kind of in a lot of ways.
Right, but it felt also
so he still has that,
it all felt so half baked to me. You know, it's like
that. I mean, yeah, that's also my problem with it too. I think the writing does suffer in that like. There was no real good. There was never really any good like. Mixing of you have like the gun plot and then you have the Pistol Pete plot, and there's never I thought there was going to be a twist where Pistol Pete was actually like a gun operative or something and that's why he had to leave. And it's just like, no, he's just a bowling guy. And I'm like, you missed out on every opportunity. Yeah, it's just like you missed out on every opportunity to have him like actually like circle back around. I thought that was weird. Like I was like, why not just make him like he was working for Gunn and he had to like leave. I was like, that's not sympathetic because he's still a deadbeat dad. He didn't support his kid, right? You know, he's still a jerk. But like that gives more of an explanation as to why instead of just like up and leaving for no reason.
But it was like so telegraphed and like cliche. The whole like the dad's coming and being nice to him, and it's like, it's clearly he's just being he decided to be a good father now that he sees him, right? Nothing else going on. But then the actual twist even on that is that like he's just decided to be a dick. Like there's no actual reason for it.
For some reason, but I liked what I did like though is that see, that's where like the stuff with that like just didn't really work. But like what did work was like during the bowling match, like the rivalry, like of them like making fun of each other and like talking each other up or whatever, like or tying down at each other, and then the ESPN commentators, ESPN 8 commentators.
I like them.
I like them a lot too.
Nice little one-liners in there.
ESPN 8, and he wants to work his way up to ESPN 6 someday.
Yeah.
Well, okay, and that's actually something that I was a little surprised at because ESPN is owned by Disney. So it's like, I was like, we're not using one of the Paramount-owned sports, like a CBS Sports or anything. We're using. I thought that was kind of strange. That was like, oh no, we're doing an ESPN 8 joke.
You got to give it up at some point. It's like we're really gonna make a joke about CBS Sports.
CBS Sports. Yeah, I guess not.
Doesn't hit. Well,
guess...
Pistol Pete, he had some funny lines too.
Yes.
I forget. I had written down there was a funny moment. I don't remember what it was. Um, but he'll just do these. He'll make these little one-liners and then do a little laugh with it.
Well, yeah, Carrie Elwes was great. I thought he was, I thought he was so much. He was just clearly having a lot of fun, just being a weirdo. I mean, here's the thing: you're a 27-time bowling champion. You're kind of a loser, right? Like, like that's your only claim to fame. Aren't you kind of a loser?
Did you see his penthouse suite
Really?
though?
He does have a penthouse suite, and that doesn't make any sense.
He's the
This is what
goat.
I mean. This is what I mean. That there should have been something more to it. Then it's like, and he could have been like, "Oh, son, I can't possibly have made this much money. 27-time bowling champion. You know how much bowling pays? No, I've been working for Gun this whole time, or something
Yeah.
like that. Like something tying it back into the plot
No,
of
he's
that. But
just the
no, it's
goat.
just
He's just the goat.
he's just the goat. Tom Brady,
Wayne
Michael
Gretzky.
Jordan. These are the names of sports champions.
He's up there with
But
the Mount
none.
Rushmore. Yeah,
Yeah, there he is, Pistol Pete.
but Wade for some reason he just gets a perfect game. Just he just knocks one out. Just knock out a perfect game every now and then.
Sure,
All right.
sure.
Um, Rory McCann. You know Rory McCann? He's the actor who played the guy in the suit, like the big old armored
Oh,
thing.
in the Knuckles derp suit.
Yeah, he's very cool. He was in the game. He was in Game of Thrones. He played
Oh,
the
okay.
Hound. He's got a very cool energy about him. Like just as an actor, he's got a very cool energy. You just didn't get much of him here. It was like
Mm.
he's like Paul Giamatti at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2. You know, he's there for a little bit in a mechanical suit, but he was cool though. It was cool to see him again. I hadn't seen him since that. So I mean, I appreciated seeing him.
That was yeah. That was a fun little bit. Um, I liked the first episode a bit. I liked the just general energy of everything.
Oh,
I also
Sonic and Tails were
immediately
there for a bit. Yeah.
Sonic and Tails were there for a little bit. I also immediately recognized. I was like, "Oh, Christopher Lloyd is just his old tribe leader," and sure enough, that's who that was. Playing that voice, I was like, "Oh, okay." So we had that, which I thought was fun. I'm glad he came back during the rock musical episode for a brief period. Um,
I will say the one thing I do appreciate about Wade is that in his like childhood bedroom he had a Naked Gun 2 poster. And I was like, okay. All right,
yeah,
man of
it's some pretty
taste.
solid. He had some pretty solid Paramount Pictures. I mean, he has some pretty great movie posters up in there.
He had a speed movie poster in there, I think.
Yeah. Yep. I'm trying to remember. There was another one that I saw. I was like, hell yeah. Oh, Predator. I think he had a Predator.
Yeah, there were a bunch of them in
poster
there.
Yeah.
And then he had a Pistol Pete poster, of course.
Yeah.
As he did.
I actually mistook who that was at first. I didn't realize because that is clearly Carrie Elwes, but I actually thought in the brief little bits of it that we saw, I thought it was Brad Pitt for a hot second. I was like, there's no way they got Brad Pitt to be in this, right? I was like, there's no way that's possible, and it wasn't. It was Carrie Elwes, which I think is a pretty good runner-up
Yeah,
because I like him a lot.
he nailed it.
Yeah, he did.
But it's all built on a rocky foundation for me. I think the
it's
show
kind
is
of too
called
bad.
Knuckles. It's absolutely not about Knuckles. He's there.
Okay.
There's literally to the point where he's literally sidelined towards the end, where he's just at a bar watching stuff. You see, cut to him for 1 second, and it's all right. Back to our bowling movie, which is what you're here to see.
Zach, tell me. I understand the disappointment with it. I almost feel like it should have been called Wade and Knuckles or something like that, which would have been again. They're missing out on the opportunity to have something called End Knuckles.
Right. Well,
That's the whole thing. Like Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. I know it's called or the standalone game Sonic and Knuckles. There's only one Knuckles game. It's called Knuckles Chaotix, and it wasn't very good. Just have End Knuckles. Everyone, the fans will love it. It'll be more fun. And it also would make more sense for this show to call it like Wade and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Because the show's mainly about him. So, but to pivot off that, I understand that. Like I totally I agree in one sense, but in the other sense, I also recognize that this is a TV show, and we have a budget and we having this highly detailed animated character on screen is a lot of money, and that's a lot of money that we don't have. So
Yeah.
we have to limit his appearances to these certain things that we have budget for. That it's unfortunate that like a lot of it has to come down to like a spreadsheet document of how much money we have. Like, oh, the effects on this scene are going to be about this much, and on this scene, it's like you can kind of see that like almost in the show itself, which is why it's wild that like um it almost feels like they saved budget on the rock opera, which is crazy to say because there's a lot of like practical effects that happened in that, which couldn't have been cheap, but it was probably cheaper still than having animating Knuckles and fighting that whole time.
Well, you know
Whereas
what I would have done? You know what I would have done, Alec?
what would
There's a
you
little
do?
hack for you. I wouldn't have made the
What's
show.
that? Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. This probably didn't need to be made.
Literally, no
but
one
I
asked
still
for
had a
this.
good time, and no one did ask.
No one asked for this, and you're gonna say, "Oh, a Knuckles show." All right, well, I'm here for more Knuckles. And then you go in there and you're watching shit about Wade Whipple and Wanda and bowling, and I'm like, "What the hell is this?" If I was not look, and we weren't even even when it got to the worst part where it's like all about Wade. Honestly, after the first episode, if we weren't
I
gonna
didn't even
review
think that was
this,
I didn't even think it was that bad.
if we weren't gonna review this, I wouldn't have kept watching. After the first episode, I would have been out.
You're just like, all right,
The first
time out.
episode, I was already, the vibes are off. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm getting triggered. It's like sending me back to the original Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which I had such problems with. And it was like such a step up into Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I feel like we just went way back again. And it's like, all right, now we're in child's play again. All right, this is what we're doing. Yeah, it's.
But they gave Knuckles his hat though, Zach. They gave Knuckles his hat from the like '90s anime.
Sure.
Are you gonna be upset
I totally
about
got
They
that
gave him his
reference.
hat.
I totally got that reference instantly.
The fans did
biggest
though,
fan.
Zach. The
Yeah.
fans got it, and that's what's
Did
important.
that redeem the show for them? The fans love this show.
I don't think so. Unfortunately, I don't. Here's the thing. I'm a fake Sonic fan.
Yeah, I'm not going to claim to be a Sonic
I
super
love-
fan here, but
I love. Yeah. I mean, I love Sonic, but in a way that's like in the complicated way that it seems like a lot of fans do, where like a lot of the games I really don't like, but I have a fascination for how bad the games can be,
right.
but also a fascination at how some of them can be legitimately excellent. Mainly the older ones, but you've got some rare standouts like Sonic Generations and such. But I also love the character design. I love the a lot of other little quirks about it, which is why I find delight in it, even when it's not great. So this was not great. I feel like my initial score maybe a little too generous, but I liked it. I thought it was fun. I had a good time. I didn't take it too seriously.
If you like it, you like it. I mean, I realized halfway.
I feel like if I was in a different mood at the time, or maybe there's a few things that have gone on in my personal life right now. I just think I needed something stupid like this to kind of chill myself out a little more. And I had a really good time with it. So
Yeah, I mean, I realized halfway
If I was
through
in a
it that
different mood, I might hate
I couldn't take it seriously at all. Like
you just,
the one episode where I was kind of enjoying it more at the point like where we got Pistol Pete. It's like if I was taking this seriously, I can't. Like you can't just take it fully seriously. You know, you have to just be like.
you really can't take it seriously.
Like the
at all.
plot itself is really dumb. Like it's really a dumb story we got going on here.
Yeah, I definitely, like I said, I would have changed some stuff around with that. Like I feel like tying the plots together better would have helped a lot. I feel like giving more of an edge to Wade's arc would have been more interesting. I mean, like I get that he's a happy-go-lucky guy, like where he's kind of just like he's sort of infantile in a lot of ways, but I feel like giving him more of like making him a little bit more jaded about his dad, or maybe a little bit more sensitive about his dad in a lot of ways, where it's like one of those things where it's like I want to reconnect with my dad, but I kind of also hate my dad. And then when he reconnects with him, he like loses all that because it's like it's my dad again. Like, so he sort of like forgives him. Like, there's essentially like the writing of how that relationship works they have a lot of on-screen chemistry, but the writing doesn't allow that to really like mesh at all in any way that's relatable to anyone. It's so weird because it doesn't feel like real life in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
It's so because there's a lot of the comedy that feels like that too. Some of that works, some of that doesn't work. And when you're writing the whole show that way, it just kind of it just sort of goes bonkers and off the wall, and you just kind of have to unfortunately accept that that's the way things are here in this show, rather than making it like you got to have some sort of relatability in how some of that plays out. Like you can't just play right to little kids logic the whole time, and that's kind of how the movie works. And it's yeah,
Yeah.
it is kind of like frustrating, but
But at its core, it's focused on Wade Whipple, so it was never gonna work for me because I just don't like him. Period. It's just the character doesn't work for me. The comedy doesn't work for me. So the movie was never gonna work. And if it's a movie, if it's or the series is never gonna work. And if it's a series called Knuckles, I just think it's kind of unforgivable. What we got?
I feel well, yeah. I feel like I would have agreed with you when I heard that that's who it was about originally. I was like, okay, I understand why nobody likes this now. Like why it's kind of gotten the reaction from the fan base that it has. I was like, I get it now. But now that I know that going in, I was able to be braced for that fact, and I think that maybe allowed me to enjoy it more. The fact that I knew going in Knuckles was because I like I said at the start, I don't even remember if I finished the thought or not. But yeah, I had been sort of like I knew going in that Knuckles was not going to be in the show as much as you might think because the show is called Knuckles, but it's actually mainly more about Wade. And yeah, and hearing that, I was like, oh, geez, my least favorite character, basically. And then going in, for whatever reason, I had a total switch where I was like, I kind of like him here. He's fun. He's kind of stupid and goofy, and I kind of like it.
I will say, yeah, I just looked it up so I could remember what the joke was that I liked. The first time it got a genuine laugh out of me. It's a 6 episode series. The first time I got a genuine laugh is episode 5. Okay,
Cool.
episode 5 is when he's doing the birds and the bees
Oh.
conversation.
Oh yeah.
Where he just told his dad he needed him to give him the story. We cut in at the tail end of it, and he was like, "I'm surprised you didn't know this by now." And he's like, "I do kind of know all about it. I just wanted to get the talk for real." I was like, "Okay, you got me with that one." And then Pistol Pete, just from there on, he had a little bit of moments, and then the ESPN thing was more my speed. But even that was more my speed. But even that, they were kind of like doing that too much by the end of it. I was like, okay, we got enough. We keep cutting back, and it's kind of getting old quickly, actually. But this is the same episode. Episode 5 is also the one where I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this is a show about Knuckles. Watching a completely different show.
Yeah. Well, that was the one. That was the one too, where where Pistol Pete, where you see his bowling ball. He's got like a T.
That's crazy.
Up inside of it.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Why does he have that? I want to know why the point of that
The
is.
point is that it's like British, right? T.
Oh, yeah, T. He's British, and
So,
he's.
I don't know
I also
why.
like how them claiming that he had a fake accent.
Yeah, like why is this whole outfit this? It's so funny because it's like in the face of bowling. Like bowling is not a showy sport at all. Like they're
No.
showing off or.
Well, that's sort of the hyper realism of this show, though, right? Like he's a megastar apparently, like,
Yeah.
and that people are like coming up and asking for his autograph. I also liked all of the digs at Reno.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of surprising. It's like we're
Yeah.
setting our finale in Reno, and we're like calling it like
What was it, the poor man's Las Vegas?
yeah, the poor man's Las Vegas. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Reno is pissed. Reno is fuming.
No, Reno's probably like, yeah, you right.
All right, are we ready to lock in our scores?
I think so. I will also give bonus points to. I like the soundtrack of the show.
I love the intro. I actually never wanted to skip the intro. I was like,
the intro was amazing. think I like the whole general soundtrack of the whole thing. I almost, so one of the things that I had wished that the show had gone into, maybe leaned into more as a plot point, as another pointer I would have given it. Lean more into the mixtape idea. Give it more of that. I mean, it's sort of ripping off a little Guardians of the Galaxy, but it works. There's a reason it works in Guardians of the Galaxy. This is Peter Quill's relationship with home. This is like what brings him back. This is his memories of his mom, memories of living on Earth still. Make this about like Wade's inability to move past his childhood. He's sort of like, again, Arrested Development. He can't help but live in the past, but the past does bring him a lot of joy. He has these his jams. That's my jam, and have that be like a way for Knuckles to kind of help relate to him. Again, learning from each other, leaning into that with the mixtapes would have been, or mixed CDs would have been more. They should have leaned into that more, especially because it was such a heavy motif in the intro. Which I think, yeah, I agree. The intro was awesome. It's probably the best part of the show.
Yeah, it is. I love the song. Once we got into all like the duel stuff, I was like, this is so dumb. You're really gonna do that? I'm gonna go grab a bicycle to go against your motorcycle. Like, that's how pathetic I am, type of thing. You know, it's like really just every step. But also cannot go understated just how insufferable that scene at the table was. Wanda was really, and I was looking at like some reviews on Serialized, which is where I track my episodes, and everybody's like, yeah, Wanda is insufferable. Everybody used that word. That was the word I use. It's like,
she's pretty bad. Yeah, we could have used the whole show. You could have even done the Shabbat dinner and just had it maybe be more about like Knuckles being weird and making Wade's mother uncomfortable or something. You know, there could have been more stuff about that. Like, she did not need to be in it at all.
Like, why is she stabbing him with a fork? And we're just like, this is okay. This is what's happening. And
that's just what's happening. That just is what happened, I guess. And also, just like all the FBI jokes just weren't funny. All of it was really lame and cringe.
The mom really got annoyed with him for going away from the table after he got stabbed with a fork. There was a fork in him, and she was getting annoyed with him for leaving. Like, yeah, I'm leaving. She just stabbed me with a fork. What's going on?
Of course. It could have been okay. Here's another awkward idea. It could have been like an awkward thing where he comes back home, and it's like he has like a new stepdad or something. There could have been an awkward thing with that. That would have been better than I don't know. That would have been more interesting. And he's just like some normal old Jewish guy, something, you know. He's just kind of like but you've had this Knuckles, he's weird, and you have Wade, this infantile kind of guy, you know, and see he can't relate to anything that's going on. He could have had some awkward tension there. Yeah, but instead you had to have Wanda.
All right.
So, anyway.
We ready?
Yep.
4.5, 6.5. Brought them down a little bit, folks.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like, I think I had a really good time, but it's not a show that I'm going to be rewatching very frequently. I think it's like I'm happy that I happened to be in the right mood for the show. Because I feel like if I wasn't, I would not have enjoyed it. But it has a lot of problems. And I hope that those don't show up in Sonic 3. Because, you know.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's what I'm
Please don't.
worried about now. Is that's what we're pushing now? This?
Well, I think I don't quote me on this, but I think / hope that I think some of this may have been like a different like writing team and directorial staff involved in this one than it was in the.
We'll hope on that.
Yeah.
That's the Tarqaron score of 5.5. 5.5.
Yeah, not the best. Not the best.
It's the worst.
Yeah, It did review generally pretty okay, I think, critically.
Really?
Yeah. It has an average rating of 6.2, but it does have an approval rating of 75%. Pairing Idris Elba's Teresa Kidna with befuddled Adam Pally, Knuckles could use some extra punch to appeal to more broadly beyond youngsters, but hits just fine as light family entertainment. I think that's kind of why I thought it was fun. It's like but it's pretty much just for little kids, and that's kind of the problem. That's a problem, you know.
Little kids who
Whereas
like
I
to
would,
get freaky with their cardboard cutouts.
hell yeah.
The hell?
Um,
All right, so we'll be here
yeah.
for all your Sonic stuff. We'll be here for when Tails comes out, Shadow. We'll be here for all those miniseries.
All the miniseries. There we go. Oh, that's so sad. So okay, no, the writer of the Knuckles show, or he didn't write every episode, but he wrote a lot of them. He wrote, let's see, one, two, three, he wrote 3 of the 6 episodes. John Whittington also wrote the Lego Batman movie, which I think is awesome. It's very funny.
It's much better than
And
this.
he also wrote Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right.
Not the best. Not the best.
Sonic the 3 is going to be rough. Oh, no. Because now we got Shadow. Well, hopefully with a little more focus. I mean, but Sonic, the movies are always weird about having these weird human storylines. Knuckles just
That's
turned
true.
it up. But, you know, Sonic 2 had more of a better balance, I felt.
Yeah.
Still had the whole wedding thing going on, but
It was weird, but
hopefully
at
we
least
add in Shadow. Maybe we can take away from that a little bit. Let's see. But like, I'm really curious what we're gonna do with Shadow in this world. It just really doesn't make sense to me how it all work. But because we're already doing like Sonic is fish out of water, Knuckles is fish out of water too, and so is Shadow just gonna be another fish out of water thing? Like,
well, Shadow was designed. He was he was like designed as the ultimate weapon, right? Like he was designed by Ivo Robotnik's grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, and then cryogenically frozen, and then he was released in Sonic Adventure 2.
well, I'm not talking about Shadow's
I,
actual purpose in life. I'm
no,
talking
no,
about his
no.
purpose in the movie.
But that's what I mean. Like how okay, so you've got that as the concept, right? But how does he fit in here? I don't know how they're gonna do any of that. That's gonna be wild. I'll say that.
But once we get to Sonic the Hedgehog 10, we're gonna have the whole cast will be there. We got Big the Cat. We're gonna have the weird freaks from Sonic Riders. Everybody will be there.
With the weird freaks from Sonic Riders. Can you imagine them just calling if if there's a 4th one after this, if they just call it Sonic Adventure? Do you know how much people would freaking lose their minds?
In what way? In
They
a
did
good
that.
way or a bad?
Probably, yeah. Everyone loves those games.
Yeah, but I don't think they're necessarily modeled after the game. So we're gonna start seeing Sonic Adventure 2, and then just like
Yeah.
naming it randomly.
Well, Sonic
after
Adventure, that's where Silver is gonna come in now suddenly.
Oh yeah,
And
we
Big-
need
and Big the
Silver.
Cat.
Absolutely.
It's the big 2, Big the Cat and Silver the
And
Hedgehog.
Silver.
That's who's gonna
Well, we're still waiting for Amy. We need the whole.
and Rouge the Bat.
We need the whole romance plot line we're waiting for with Amy, and yeah.
Yeah, what a wild world we're in. But
Here we are.
yeah,
That was Knuckles.
That was Knuckles.
That's it. That's it for
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Until the next Sonic thing.
Uh-huh. All right. Well,
If
Zach,
you,
if you enjoyed this, Zach, what should the fine listeners or watchers go check out after they finish this?
go watch a review of Sonic and the Secret Rings on the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah.
Right.
What a great
It's
game.
right up there. It's right on par with that Knuckles TV series and Sonic and the Secret Rings. Not gonna lie. Check it out. If you enjoyed this video and all of our hot takes and our differing opinions, subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment with your thoughts. I want to see a comment from Knuckles Collector 25 telling me why this movie is low key the greatest. I want to see it.
It's a TV series, first of all, and second of all, it's
a movie.
it is kind of just like a longer movie.
Yeah.
A 3-hour movie.
And if you do leave a comment, we always read it in the next episode of the Tarqaron podcast that we record. All right, so check that out. Click the link in the description for our social media and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we upload. All right, now.
Alrighty.
Yeah.